That record holds now that the camera
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Grand Prix Podcast. I'm Elton, this is Andy.
Sorry, I drifted off there for a minute. I'm back. Hello.
Powder dry, Christ.
Seriously, you really think this is going to be a surprise to anyone who's even remotely listened to this podcast?
Right, I'm looking forward to this even more. I think this could either be our shortest episode or our longest episode.
Every time you predicted that, it's ended up being the longest.
Yeah, it has, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, so we're here to cover the 2018 Monaco Grand Prix. Yeah. No, not excited.
Grand Prix? I thought it was for 2018 Monaco Parade Lap.
Oh, you're a motherfucker. You really are.
I know I am.
By the way, if you have little kids around or little ears around, we probably will swear. Nay, we will snare. Swear.
Swear. No.
Nay, we already have sworn as well. So
yes, the preceding podcast contains swear words. If you're offended, you shouldn't have listened.
Yeah, and idiots as well, who have their own opinions, and it's up to them whether they say the opinions or not. Anyway, so yeah, we're here to talk about the Monaco Grand Prix. So can I get your initial impressions on it, even though I probably already know what they are?
I imagine you've already had my initial impressions.
Okay. So, bit of a snooze fest then, yeah?
As I've said before on this cast, the promise of a great race, the promise of excitement is not in of itself excitement. That's what we call being a cock tease. And unless you're into that sort of thing, which I'm not, it's not my sort of thing. So, yeah.
I liked it, man.
I'm sure you did.
I don't think it's a classic. It's not a race that I'll jump to and go, oh, yeah. Do you know what? 2018, I'd like to watch that race again. It's not one of them because all the drama's over now. Yeah. You can't get excited about it. But I really enjoyed it. So I know we're going to differ on this.
Oh, mate, there's nothing wrong. You're entitled to your opinion, no matter how wrong it is.
Yeah.
I've got some other quotes here if you'd like about it. Shall I read them out?
Yeah. Are they all just Zs?
Well, I was going to say, I've got one here from Fernando Alonso.
And what does he say?
Probably the most boring race ever in Formula One.
Yeah, well, he was in the middle of it and broke down.
Okay, I've got one from Lewis Hamilton here.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't really racing.
He didn't have a car underneath him to race.
Okay, yeah. You know what I found very interesting this weekend? I've noticed this before, but you know, I noticed it especially this weekend. You have Martin Brundle, Lazenby, Crofty, all the people there saying Monaco, it's a great race. It's the crown jewel of Formula One. It doesn't always give great racing, but it's not always the most exciting race. But we don't always have blah 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 blah. But
we're not racists. But
I'm just saying that there seems to be a lot of qualification to remarks that has to take place here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that goes on. I've said this last year. I'll say it again now. Look, I understand that the drivers enjoy the technical challenge of this race. 100% I understand that. I'm sure there is nothing more thrilling or exhilarating than hurling your car around this thing as fast as possible with millimetre gaps between you and the barriers, knowing that just a hair's breadth the wrong way, your car's in the wall and it's game over.
I bet it's flipping awesome.
Qualifying is one of the most exciting things ever at Monaco. 100%, right? So what I think we should do is you do Saturday, you do your qualifying, you give 1 to 10 the points, and we fuck off home on the Sunday. Go to the pub. Go have a nice pub lunch instead. Because, frankly, this is a rally stage, not a Formula One race. This is a challenge about who sets the fastest time on the Saturday. That is it. We get, again, you've all listened to this. We had a car today missing 2 gears, missing its MGU-K, 20 miles an hour down on the straights, was still able to win this race. And all respect to Daniel Ricciardo, but do you really think he's a better driver than Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, Kimi Raikkonen and Vitaly Bottas when their cars were at full pelt?
No, I get it. I get it. There's nothing I cannot agree with, but
look, you enjoyed it. It's fine, mate. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But to me, this was the equivalent of a fucking cricket match. I'm sure if there are people out there who love cricket, but I see a cricket match and I'm just like, I just don't see the appeal.
Okay.
It's just not. If I was trying to talk someone into watching Formula One, the last race I would ever show them is this. I mean, I'll tell you what, this is still better than Australia. But maybe that's just because I expect Monaco to be like this. For me, Monaco's like a live version of Goodwood. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's an exhibition thing. I get that.
Yeah.
It's like this is. I'm going to sound very liberal and very political for a second, and I do apologise deeply. But it's like the 1% saying, "Oh, this is how it should be." Yes, it's quite. It's sipping champagne from the Grand Hotel while we race around the streets of Monte Carlo. Oh, it's just like the good old days and all that. And it's just like, you watch Keke Rosberg doing his thing. You watched all the videos we saw of Senna in '88 going around. That was when it was exciting. When they're fighting those cars, they've got and they're like chopping at the wheels, trying to keep this thing in a straight line.
Proper wrestling them, aren't they?
They're properly wrestling. You've got to take your hands off and manual and all that sort of stuff. And that's when it feels exciting, because then literally you sneeze, you breathe in at the wrong moment and you're into a wall. You feel that they're fighting those cars. You look on board of any of the drivers today, and they could easily just be out on a Sunday drive. I'm not taking anything away from their skill, but the technology has gotten to a point now where it's just not the same spectacle. And that's what it comes down to. It's spectacle. And there was no spectacle here. And again, I mean, as Alonso said, there was no yellow flags. There was there was yellow flags, but there was no safety cars. There was no kind of, big race stoppage. There was the promise of rain earlier on, which never appeared. Again, did the top five, even with the pit stops, swap places? I mean, I think Lewis did when he pitted. But other than that, everyone was like in the pits, out the pits, same spot. I know for a fact I've got at least 1 point. So I'm pretty sure I've got 3 points. But, I said there's only going to be one leader of this race, and there was only one leader of this race. From the lights to the end.
We'll wait until we get there.
And it's just, look, for me, that's not what Formula One should be. Formula One should be about gladiatorial duels. And this isn't even like in, was it 92? Or 91, when Senna was all over the back of Mansell.
No, that was 92 and Mansell was all over the back of Senna.
There you go. There. Where literally it looked like Mansell was about to climb in the back of that car.
Yeah.
Because, that was exciting.
And the cars were wider as well.
The cars were wider, but you knew if Senna even, the fraction of a mistake, Mansell could get by him. And look, all respect to our Nige and his Tash, which is indeed mighty, the stuff of legend. He's no Ayrton Senna at Monaco. But my point is, you knew the fact if he could get by him, that was Senna's skill, keeping the car behind him the entire time. This time it's just the aerodynamics at play more than anything else.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that just to me isn't exciting. Again, it's I understand why people like this race, but I think people enjoy the idea of the Monaco race more than the race of itself. They enjoy the spectacle of what's put on there than the racing itself. It's all that panache and, it's all the spectacle they lay on in it. And this is like the state opening of Parliament, So all the finest china is out and the silverware and, the horses, and it's just all the pomp and circumstance, and it's all very grand. But the actual event itself is a little old lady sitting in a chair just reading a list that's been made up for her. It's just like, So yeah, for me, this was another classic. And please note the finger quotes over there.
Oh,
classic.
I can hear them. Don't worry.
Yeah, another classic Monaco Grand Prix. But hell, I know I'm in the minority there. As long as there are those who hark on about the DNA of Formula One and grand tradition and all that bollocks, it'll go on, and that's fine. It's fine.
I don't think you're in the minority. I really don't.
I honestly would rather have a Monaco Grand Prix than say something like the Australian Grand Prix or those ones, or even that first Baku Grand Prix. Mm-hmm. I'd take Monaco over that any day of the week.
Yeah.
Because again, it does put on a show. I like the nostalgia trip there. But what I think they should do is you should say, right, you know what Monaco is? Monaco is an exhibition thing. So in that 3-week break, they all rock up to Monaco. They put on a massive pageant for Formula One and all things speed. You get things like Keke and Nico Rosberg going around in a classic car and a modern car. You do some historic Grand Prix things. So get a load of like mid-90s cars to blitz around there. You do a time session like they do the hill climb there. And you can do it for points or whatever, you do something like that. But please, I don't want to sit and watch 78 laps of that shit, Got better shit to do.
Well, okay. I, on the other hand, quite enjoyed it. So, should we get on with all the news that we had before? Then I'll run through the free practice qualifying and then we can moan about the race again.
Aren't you going to justify why you liked it? Or are we just I just liked it and that's it?
Let's wait until we get to the race.
Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise we're not going to have anything to say. It'll all be done. You've had your moan, though. You've had your moan about Monaco, so that's fine. That's good.
I've had a moan about Monaco.
Okay, you've had a moan about Monaco. I'm guessing that there's going to be another one. But before that, there is a little bit of news, I'm guessing. So, was there?
Possibly. I don't know.
Don't know. Okay, well, can I start off with one then?
You may, yes.
What one do I start off with? Ferrari. Fucking hell, Ferrari. What are you playing at? They brought the wing mirrors that they had in Spain, but minus the little support bar. Can you hear my air quotes in that as well?
You mean the bit was structurally integral for them to have it there?
Yes.
Oh, wow. And it managed to get around it?
It worked absolutely fine, surprisingly.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now I like people being cunning and creative with certain things. But from the very beginning, I've been a fan of nothing touches the halo. I don't like the little winglets that go on the top. You don't even like the logos being painted on it, do you? I don't know. I don't mind them being sponsored up and coloured and stuff like that. But they are there for a purpose and they're there for a safety purpose. So leave them like that. Don't touch them. Don't bend them. Don't add anything to them. And then adding little winglets on the top. People, or the FIA turned around and went, oh, okay, you can do that. And then Ferrari do a Ferrari thing and put wings on it, as we reported in Spain.
Yes.
And they were told, no, you don't hang your wing mirrors from there. And they went, oh, okay. And then they went back and came back to Monaco, and the little winglets above the mirrors had disappeared.
Ooh.
Like the little Dumbo ears had disappeared. So they weren't there for structure because someone at Ferrari was telling a little fibby-wibby.
I'm shocked.
Exactly, yes. So they have been told, yes, you can race them from now on. And this is, I do like Ferrari. I love it. But for fuck's sake, man. This is like the kid that goes along and can I have a chocolate bar? Yes, you can have one chocolate bar. And then takes 7. And they go, no, put some back. And he puts 4 back. And then fucks off. And doesn't get told off for it. And then the next kid comes up and takes 1. And does what he's told. And that's what Ferrari do constantly. And sometimes, with stupid things like this, the wing mirrors aren't making any difference. But that's a safety feature. You don't touch it. That's what's got my goat about it. So, yeah, look, if you're listening to this, yeah, it is just 2 old men moaning about Formula One at the moment. And it probably will be for the rest of this episode. So I apologise. If you want to disappear and go to the Canadian Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time, fine, we'll see you then. But it'll probably be 2 grumpy men moaning about Monaco and Formula One this week. So, yeah, what do you think about these wing mirrors? Because, yeah, fuck off, Ferrari. Honestly, fuck off.
I think it is a bit. The whole wing mirrors themselves, from what I gather from, again, I've never sat in a Formula One car, so I can't attest to this. But from what I understand is they're next to useless. They're too small. They vibrate later on when the tyres get worn down a little bit. Mm. And as evidence, most drivers don't even use them. I'm looking at you, Max. So, they're a bit useless. I don't see why they don't have rear-facing cameras and, just a little, just above the dash, a little screen showing what's behind them. It'd be far more effective. They'll be able to actually see, and you can get rid of the mirrors altogether. But yeah, I mean, do you remember back in the day, Red Bull were putting their mirrors further and further out on the end of the side pods and all that, until the point where, the drivers were like, look, we can't even see the mirrors, let alone what's in the back of them. Yeah,
but the car needs to have them on there to pass a certain test. Yeah,
exactly. They're it's a I suppose it's just a head nod saying, oh yeah, they've got mirrors, they're safe there. Yeah. I think Ferrari's being insanely cheeky. I don't think they should be sticking anything on the halo either. So yeah, I'm with you. But then Ferrari were always going to give it a try.
Oh, it just annoys me. And now it's just been swept under the carpet and then carry on.
Well, they got rid of the wings on the top of them, I suppose. And the mirrors are in roughly the same position as they were previously. It's just now the support's coming from the top of the halo than from the side pod.
Yeah, and it's okay if it's not making that much difference. Then why do it? That's the thing that fucking stop it. Oh, anyway, okay. So
I suppose, I get what you're saying, but it's it does what it's Ferrari's going to Ferrari basically. At the end of the day, it's what they're going to do. I did find a bit of news.
Yeah, go
on. So I think from next year, Pirelli are changing how they label tyres.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
Which I think I mentioned last time out. So we're still keeping all the compounds that we currently have.
What, 20 compounds?
20 compounds and all that. But from next year, the race themselves, instead of being called the prime and the option, or the whatever three compounds they get, they'll be referred to as the hard, the medium, and the soft.
Right. Okay.
That's it. It would be so if they turn up with the super soft, the ultra soft, and the hyper soft, the super soft will be called the hard tire.
Yep.
The ultra soft will be the medium, and the hyper soft will be the soft tire. And they'll still keep the same colours, and they'll still be known as those compounds and those, the ones that in the know and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But over the course of the race weekend themselves, those are the three options.
Brilliant. So now we're going to have commentators going, well, they've put the hard tyres on now, but really, in actual fact, they're just the super softs.
Basically, yeah. No, but I'm fine with that, because look, if you're a casual fan and you're trying it out the first time, and the guy goes, oh, they've gone from the super soft to the ultra soft, and now they're on the hyper soft, and it's just like, what? It makes no. If you say they've gone from the hard tire to the medium tire to the, that makes sense. You say the hard tire is the more durable one, the medium one is in between, the softest is the least durable, but the fast, it's a lot easier to pick up.
Yeah.
And again, it kind of does harken back to the old days where they'd have a different compound for each race, Yeah.
Good. Well, hopefully it might work. I'm not going to hold my breath on it, but hopefully it might work. Man, yeah, it's just grumpy people this week, isn't it? It really is. Right? Can I just move on to another grump that I have as well? And this comes out every year when we go to Monaco. Now, I do love the Monaco Grand Prix. I love the spectacle of it, etc. But there is one thing that really bugs me. I'm not too sure if I've mentioned this in previous casts or not. I might have, I might not have. But it is that flipping cone on the Anthony Nogues corner that really pisses me off. Now, this cone, I'm not too sure exactly when it first made its debut, but I think it was Coulthard that recommended it because he was having trouble spotting the apex going into that final corner on the Monaco Grand Prix circuit. And he requested a cone to be put above the barrier so he could spot it. And so other drivers could spot it as well. And from then on, it has always been there. And it just bugs the living crap out of me. Just knowing that Coulthard asked for it to spot a corner. Now, isn't he supposed to be, or other drivers, that's the skill of racing, isn't it? Surely. Of driving round a corner, knowing where this apex is, knowing when to turn in, and hitting that apex correctly. And putting a cone there kind of null and voids the point of you being a skillful driver. Now, I'm not saying Hamilton and Alonso and Leclerc and Ericsson and even Verstappen, for that matter, need that cone. Because any other street circuit, I don't see them putting cones out. But for some reason, they put it on that cone, on that corner, and they continue to put it on that corner. And it just bugs me. And so every opportunity this weekend, I've been mentioning it to people and got various replies on it. And to the point where, do you remember the photographer, the Sutton photographer?
Yes.
I can't remember his first name, but
Peter.
Oh, okay. I messaged him on Instagram and he totally agrees with what I said. He wants it removed. I asked him to remove it next time. He was taking photos at that corner. I said, could you just slip that cone into your pocket? He went, yeah, I agree. So, yeah, that's just another little bug that I promise I won't mention again for the rest of this cast. Do you get the same thing with that cone or not? Or is it just, I think it's just me. I think it's one of them things I've just noticed and will continue to notice forever and ever.
I'd never noticed it once. Up until you said it, I'd never even noticed it.
Oh, man. Oh, okay. Next year, I will introduce you to the cone.
Oh, I've seen the pictures. I know, I know where it is and all that sort of stuff. But yeah. No, never noticed.
I kind of want there to be.
I was going to say, I don't want to labour a point, but I think that you have the time to sit and spot cones on corners does say something about the quality of the action on the track.
Well, I think it's because I heard Coulthard turn around and say that, yeah, he's asked for a cone on that corner. I was like, you what? You're like a professional driver. Surely you don't need that, do you? And from then on, I just noticed this cone. It just bugs me every 78 laps that we go around there. It just bugs me. So yeah, I kind of want there to be like a Twitter, someone make a fake Twitter thing for it, and tomorrow he'll be put out to divert traffic later on, and he'll come out in the middle of September. It'll be wet, and then he'll be put back in a box. I'm talking shit now. Sorry, I do apologise.
Other news?
Yeah, go on.
Just moving on from that. We've had a couple of FIA investigations and possible rulings, both basically pointed towards Ferrari. One was about their oil use. Mercedes querying if the turbo counts as part of combustion, as part of the engine unit, effectively, because at the minute it's counted as a separate component in some parts of regulations. So they were concerned that it might mean that it's not subject to the same oil restrictions as the engine as a whole. And the FIA have turned around and said, as far as they're concerned, yes, the turbo does count as part of the, under those oil restrictions. So, while Ferrari haven't come out and said they were doing anything wrong or saying they've had to change anything, that's a rule. That's a ruling from them.
Yeah.
And also, they were apparently under investigation for potentially getting more out of their batteries than they were supposed to.
Yep.
Don't know quite how that was working, but the FIA have said they're satisfied with whatever they're doing is fine. So, there you go. I think that was it, at least as far as I saw, as far as news goes.
Yeah, they did bring back grid girls and grid boys for this race.
And if they hadn't said anything, no one would have given any fucks at all.
Exactly. I don't want to do anyone out of a job, but if any race wants to put on anyone to hold sticks, it's entirely up to them. I think each and every race should be totally different. So, if you want kids there, have kids there. It's fine. It's not going to affect my day. If you want girls there, if you want boys there, if you want all three there, go for it. It's not going to affect my day. So, yeah, if it wasn't mentioned, then maybe we wouldn't have noticed.
I still want them to bring back thunder structure in the formation lap.
Okay, what? Thunder structure?
Okay, so back in the day, when Crofty and Anthony Davison used to do the commentary on BBC, on 5 Live, when the cars set out to do their parade lap, as the first car moved out, Thunderstruck by AC/DC would start playing.
Oh, yes.
And it was timed as such. It was just like an instrumental version, but it was timed as such so that it stopped when the last car got back on the grid.
Yeah.
And it was fucking amazing. Because you've all heard Thunderstruck, haven't you?
Yeah.
And anyway, as soon as it went, that guitar riff started playing, and it was so cool. And I want them to do that again. So yeah, I don't give a shit about Grid Girls. I don't give a shit if it's kids. I want Thunderstruck to play when they pull away on the formation lap.
That sounds good, man.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Okay, cool. I will try and have a couple of words with certain people then.
Do so, yes.
Okay, cool. Right, I'm going to run through free practice and qualifying because I don't think there's a lot here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Right. Alonso in free practice 1. Alonso missed most of the session due to a brake-by-wire problem, and Max Verstappen caused a problem in the first corner by locking up and then running off on the running off area, then reversing back onto the track, which everyone, this was pointed out because I think it was Max Verstappen, and it was Max Verstappen reversing onto the track like everyone else would do if they went wide on there. And like everyone else was doing in Baku. But because it was Max Verstappen, people were picking up on it and having a go at him. And I'm like, well, yeah, if you go wide there, you're going to be going wide there. So, there was questions by the media that I was listening to saying, maybe he should be penalised for that. And, calm down, guys, calm down. We don't need to penalise for that. But all the drivers were doing that.
Yeah, I'd say, don't worry. I don't think anyone's talking about that anymore.
Good. Right, FP2, you're going to love this.
Yeah.
We had a red flag because a drain was loose in Casino Square.
Yay!
There you go.
So you see, I'd be fine with that. If I actually unwelded all of the drains along Monaco, I'd be probably more on board with it.
Well, maybe unweld them and remove them so they got little holes to circumnavigate.
No, I don't want that. I literally want lumps of iron flying up in the air after the cars go through them.
Okay.
Like bloody artillery shells coming down on them. That'll give you something to spice it up.
Oh, it would do, wouldn't it? Yeah. And FP3...
So just to be clear, I don't really want that.
No,
just to let everyone know, I'm not serious there at all.
But I feel like you have to cover your ass just in case, because there will be one person that goes, well, I'm going to write a stern email to these people. Which is box at grandprixpodcast.com. Right, FP3, it was all reasonably quiet until Max Verstappen decided to thump the wall exactly where he did 2 years ago at the swimming pool, thus writing off his car.
To be fair, in his defence, he did very rapidly come across a slow-moving Renault before that.
Yes.
Look, it's not like it was a completely clear track. He was minding his own business and he just fucked up.
No.
He was unsighted by that car. He was, I don't know if he was quite offline, but it disrupted his flow a little bit and he clipped it. And while, yes, he shouldn't be making mistakes like this, this is a guy who was hailed as a Wunderkind a couple of years ago, who was hailed as the next Schumacher, Senna, whatever you want to call it, and the next Vettel. At this point, shouldn't be making these sort of mistakes. But it's not like he was out minding his own business and then decided to throw it into a wall. So I'm just ever so slightly devil's advocating there. Just a little bit.
No, look, I totally get that. It's Verstappen's free game at the moment because all of the media seem to be ganging up on him. And rightly or wrongly...
There's blood in the water, isn't there?
Yeah. Rightly or wrongly, he hasn't had a clean weekend, and once again, this has proved that he's blotted his copy, his book on this. So I don't think it helps. It was in exactly the same place in exactly the same manner as 2 years ago either. But I do get what you're saying with the Renault and him being unsighted. It took his attention away from the entering the corner that he was going for around the swimming pool. And so, yeah, he might have turned in just a little bit too soon or a bit sharper than what he normally would have done. The Renault wasn't in his way per se, but it would have taken his attention. away
Yeah, I
from
mean,
the next corner.
he came up to that at a rate of knots.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, where it was, he probably just wasn't expecting it to be going as slowly as it was there.
Mm.
And again, from the he hits the first barrier, and it's just enough to break that steering arm.
Yeah.
And at that point, he's a passenger, and he's over the curb and into the next wall. So yeah, this isn't the level of fuck-uppery that he did previously.
No.
But again, it's a case of, and certainly this isn't a Grosjean level fuck up by a long way.
No, he didn't disappear in a cloud of smoke, did he?
But I don't think it was quite telling. You see the bit when he's back, from inside the Red Bull garage.
Yeah.
And it looks like him and Helmut Marko are reenacting that scene from Empire Strikes Back, where Vader chokes out Captain Nida, and he falls down dead, and then goes, "Apology accepted, Captain Nida." And then a couple of mechanics drag Max away. It looked like that.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, and this is all very telling, with Ricciardo still not signed, and there's definitely that perception that this is Max's team, but. Well, all I'm saying is Max ain't the one that's third in the championship at the minute.
No, they seem to have put all their eggs in his basket. And
see, I don't know that they have. I just think that's definitely the message the media's been playing.
Well, they signed him, and they know that they've got at least 10 years in that kid to carry on their team, and so. Why wouldn't they plough all their eggs into his basket? I know that they got a perfectly decent driver in Ricciardo, but that's the way that Red Bull seem to be going.
Well, I think a lot of it comes from Max coming through their drivers program, whereas I don't think Ricciardo did. I mean, I know he's been sponsored by them. He didn't do the whole young driver thing upwards.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know, but I definitely know if. I think I've said this before, but I think Max probably has more raw talent than Ricciardo and probably quite a few other drivers on there. But if I may quote from Mr. Miyagi, he lacks discipline.
Okay.
So he doesn't have the he doesn't have the control over it.
Yeah.
He gets very easily flustered, and I said this before as well. I think it's Jolyon Palmer with talent. That there's a sense of entitlement.
Man.
There. There's a sense of entitlement there because his dad, is Jos Verstappen, and he feels like he's got a dynasty or whatever. He's supposed to be there and doing that.
Yeah.
And you need that little bit of arrogance to succeed. I honestly believe you do. But equally so, when you're doing mistakes like that at this point of your career, again, we've got to stop thinking of him as a 17-year-old in a Toro Rosso. He's not. He's been, what did we say, it was 4 or 5 years at this point?
Yeah, it's 4 years. This is his third season with Red Bull, and then I think he did 2 with Toro Rosso, so possibly 5.
So this is his 5th year in Formula One. And yeah, you cannot be consistently doing mistakes like this. I mean, obviously, Roman Grosjean is still doing that, but that's a different story.
Oh, yeah.
And no one is claiming he is the second coming of Christ. Whereas, there was all this big fanfare with Max. I just think he started drinking his own Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Well, okay. Fingers crossed he can get it together for Canada, because he did bend his car quite heavily, as to the point where he needed a new gearbox, which made him sit out of qualifying. So he didn't even qualify for this race, did he?
Nope.
He started at the back.
Had to go and ask permission.
Exactly, yes.
He goes, "Please, sir, I'd like to race here."
Yeah. So, yeah, he had to ask for permission. I'm going to quickly run down qualifying, if you don't mind. We had, as we've already said, Verstappen needing a new gearbox, so he didn't take part. And Stroll was moaning quite a lot about traffic, even though everyone else was moaning about traffic. And I think, he was moaning about traffic and a loose headrest. His engineer did turn around and say, is it safe? And he said, yeah, no, it's safe. It's just loose, so can you tighten it up next time I come in? I think he's having problems, and I think Stroll's worried about his career, and rightly so as well. Yeah, I think Stroll's fair game now. We can start asking questions about him, because we all know that Williams is not up to par at all, is it? And he's not really delivering now.
I have thoughts on Williams, but I'm going to save those for the race.
Okay, cool. Right. Leclerc went wide at Sandovots and scuppered everyone else's last lap. So there was a yellow there, so everyone had to slow down, so everyone lost out. So we lost in Q1 Verstappen, Magnussen, Stroll, Ericsson and Hartley. In Q2, both Mercedes tried to get through on the ultra softs, opposed to the hyper soft that everyone else was running, but it was just too slow for them, so then they had to switch back to the hyper softs and managed just to scrape through. So we lost Grosjean, Leclerc, Sorokin, Van Dorn and Hulkenberg. And in Q3, Ricciardo blew everyone's doors off. He was...
Twice.
Oh man, yeah. Both laps that he put in, they were both good enough for pole position. Am I right in thinking that?
You are correct.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's impressive. He just blew everyone out of the water. Although Sebastian did nick second from Hamilton at one point. I think Hamilton was sitting on there after their first run.
Hamilton was on second for the first run, and then Vettel on his last run got it. So.
Yeah. And, okay, another little moan about Ferrari or Vettel. Indeed. Every time that he's in the top three, he's still not parking his car up on that grid.
He did at the end of the race.
He did at the end of the race, but I feel that Ferrari have turned around to him and said, no, the car is too important. Get it back to the garage so we can get it cooled down, etc.
Yeah, I heard someone, because again, he hasn't done it on any of those ones, and they were saying there might be either something that needs attention, or it might be there's something they don't want maybe Lewis or whoever's alongside him looking at.
It's the steering wheel, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
Right.
In fact, I don't know if he reattached the steering wheel or if he just shoved it into the car.
No, they have to reattach it.
They're supposed to reattach it.
Yeah.
But do you remember last year when he clouted Stroll on a slowdown lap?
Yeah.
And he didn't do it. And Charlie Whiting issued a directive saying, common sense, people. It was at the end of a race. It wasn't in anyone's way. It's not a problem.
Right.
And they let it slide. I'd have to go and relook, but I don't know if he actually put the steering wheel back on after that.
Right. Oh, okay. But yeah, he just seems to be heading towards the pits rapidly after every qualifying session, even though he's finished in the top three. And it's another thing of, but Ferrari, it's Ferrari, so we can let them off. And I'm like, yeah, I know I've already said this once, but I am a big fan of them. I want them to do well. But when you do shit like this, it's so simple and so avoidable, and it's part of the spectacle for us viewers, then, it's just annoying when you see two cars lined up there, and because they've been told to pull up there, and then Ferrari have decided, no, we'll do something else. Wow, man, I was in a good mood before I started talking about this, and now I'm a proper grump. I've watched the Indy 500 and everything. I've had a really good time. So, yeah. So, anyway,
sorry.
So let me run down the qualifying. Daniel Ricciardo got pole position. Sebastian Vettel was second. Lewis Hamilton was third. Kimi Räikkönen was fourth. Valtteri Bottas was fifth. Esteban Ocon was sixth. Fernando Alonso was seventh. Carlos Sainz was eighth. Sergio Perez was ninth. And Pierre Gasly was 10th. So there we go. That is the running order. Were there any penalties that we had? Oh, Romain Grosjean had a penalty, didn't he?
Grosjean had a 3-place penalty from being a fuckwit last time out.
Yep.
And Max Verstappen had a 5-place grid penalty for a new gearbox, but since he was starting at the back already, meh.
Oh, okay. Oh, it says here he had unscheduled gearbox change and a 10-place penalty for the use of a third MGUK.
Oh, so it's a 15-place quid penalty. But again, starting at the back, so who cares?
Well, why not just stick everything on there? Why not?
They may as well have stuck a brand new engine in it, to be honest, because, again, you're at the back.
Yeah. So, there we go. There's qualifying. So, the race. So, they went round and round, and Ricciardo won. The end, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Right, okay. I enjoyed this because you had that... I don't want to call it... It was like a cat and mouse type race, wasn't it? Where Ricciardo bossed it. He had control of it, but the aero...
Okay, so for me, when Ricciardo reported he had a problem, I was a bit, okay, exciting now. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Okay, to be fair, at first I thought it was unfair because I thought he was going to have to retire at that point. But then, he kept on going. So I thought, okay, we've got a race now. We've got a wounded Red Bull there, which means Vettel's going to close up on him and going to be able to do it. But he couldn't, because every time Vettel got close enough to him, the straight's not long enough for DRS to mean anything.
No.
DRS is a whole different discussion for another day. But every time he got close enough, he was straining his tyres.
Yeah.
And he couldn't stay with him. And after that, I knew it was game over. I mean, honestly, hand on heart, at any point after that initial call, did you think there was any chance that Vettel was going to be able to pass him?
Yes, I did. I honestly did. There were chunks where Vettel was dropping back, and then he would close that gap, and he would get to half a second in the DRS zone. I'm not expecting anyone to pass under DRS, but it might get you close enough to maybe throw a dummy and then someone to go defensive, and then they're wide in the exit, and you can shimmy up the inside.
But I think that's another problem here. I mean, they don't see Ricciardo as a championship contender, effectively. And again, they're risk averse. Well, why go for the 25 when I'm guaranteed to 20?
Yeah.
And okay, maybe if, this was, maybe if we were in a 15-race season and this was the 8th race of the season then, and, there's 25 points, then you'd be like, and it's Hamilton you've got to throw it up the inside of. Maybe then. But at no point did I think there was a chance. After that initial closing up, basically the first time we went down the pit straight when Ricciardo was 20 miles an hour down on that.
Yeah.
The first time he did that, and you could see the Red Bull couldn't do it, I knew it was just like, well, yeah, zero-sum game. Barring a safety car, that ain't changing.
Yeah. Well,
and
this goes back to an argument that we've had plenty of times as well about the aeros, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know we've already covered that ground, but it does go through to that question again on, can these cars follow each other? And the answer is plainly no, they cannot.
I mean, the only car really passing was Verstappen. Now, again, Ricciardo did a 1:10 for his pole lap, right?
Yep.
Now, where did Verstappen? Verstappen finished 9th, okay? So I'm going from qualifying times because we're going to assume that qualifying is the fastest the car will go, yeah? That's what I'm assuming here. 9th place was Sergio Perez with a 1 minute 12, yeah?
Yep.
So he effectively had a 2-second lap advantage over every car to 9th place. That was the best. So a car that's 2 seconds a lap faster than everything up until that point.
Yep.
And that was the best he could manage against those. It's just like you have that much of an advantage over these cars. And as soon as you... Because again, Hülkenberg, the Renault, that qualified, that was a 1:12. So again, he's got a 2 second a lap advantage over the Renaults.
Yep.
You got the Force Indias in front. Again, a 1:12. So 2 second a lap advantage over every car. I mean, even the Ferraris were 1:11s. So everything except the Mercedes and the Ferraris, he had a 2 second a lap advantage over, and he still could only manage 9th. And that was including, Alonso retiring from the gearbox issue.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So, I mean, Alonso says the problem's the circuit, not the cars. I think it's a bit of both. Because, again, I think you can have exciting races around Monaco. It's just the last time I can think of an exciting race around Monaco that wasn't the result of wet weather was, like I said, something like 92, 93, maybe.
But this has been going on for years with this circuit. I think it's a great leveller because if you reverse the grid, let's just say we reverse the grid and notwithstanding Verstappen being at the back, so he would have started at the back anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So Kevin Magnussen up front with Lance Stroll and Ericsson.
Yeah. And
if they'd gone off, then I think that it possibly could have finished like that anyway. Because
what you mean with Stroll and Magnussen at the front?
Yeah, I think it could have.
Yeah. Position is king here.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's again a 20-mile-an-hour deficit along the straight there. I mean that's massive.
It's huge.
That's insane. That kind of a performance. I mean, that's the kind of performance gap you used to get back in the day against, the Williams at the height of their power, and I don't know what, the Minardis, the Tyrrells, the Pacifics.
Yeah.
That's that kind of deficit we're talking there. So yeah, I mean it's just you cannot race at this circuit. All you can do is follow and hope that circumstance, will shine on you. That's all you can do here.
You can race, but you need to be able to get close enough to push. And in recent years, where the cars have relied on aero far too much, they can't get that close in the corners because they need the air around them to force them down into the ground so they can take the corners that quickly. And you don't get that type of racing in Formula One anymore. And that's where they need to sort it out. So that's what I mean by it's a great level. I was confused as to why Vettel couldn't get anywhere near Ricciardo. And with that 20-mile-an-hour deficit. And yet, it's because, it's still going through he still has to follow his wake through the corner, so he has to drop off a certain distance so he can actually get the aero to work. And that is your main biggest problem here. I feel if you could close the gaps up ever so slightly, then you might be able to push someone into a mistake. But you're not going to get that type of racing.
I think it's very telling that Adrian Newey was representing Red Bull on the podium today.
Right, okay.
Because whatever McLaren wants to say, Red Bull still have the best chassis and the best aero out there.
Oh, yeah.
And that is solely why they won today, with all the problems. I mean, again, I'm not taking anything away from Daniel Ricciardo. I'm a huge fan of his, which I think is, I've not made any bones about it. But, despite the Renault engine effectively being a bag of spanners in the back, sorry. Despite the Tag Heuer engine being effectively a bag of spanners in the back of that thing, it was fast enough in the corners and through the other bits, and to keep the car behind, but it still managed to take it to the win.
Well, it took pole, didn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Saturday, you know what? Hell, not even that. Just maybe just not 78 sodding laps. Let's call it 50. Call it 50, be good. An hour of just kind of going, yay, Formula One, and then we've got it good. I mean, if you were to bring the Monaco Grand Prix to FIA today, saying I want to hold a race here, it's never been run before, they would laugh in your sodding face.
No, it wouldn't make it at all, would it?
At all. And I mean, again, there's lots. I mean, it's a bit like Brands Hatch. Brands Hatch used to give fantastic races back in the day. It was awesome, and it was great for spectators as well because it's in a bowl. So you can pretty much see the entire circuit from anywhere. It's a bit like Interlagos.
Mm.
But they're never going to race Formula One there again because it needs too much work doing on it to bring it up to the standards and everything like that. Monaco just get away with it because, they go, oh, it's tradition and stuff and history. I mean, even when, Bernie was being his most cutthroaty bastard of all, which he was sort of thing, saying, oh, Monza and Silverstone, we have to decide if we're going to have races here anymore and all that. Monaco was never in doubt.
No.
But what? At once, hell, I don't even think they pay for their race. Almost guarantee they don't. I get the drivers love it. I really do. And I appreciate they love it. But I'm not a driver. I'm not the one experiencing that exhilaration of being a millimetre away. And you just don't get that sense from the cameras. It's just not a spectacle. It's not spectacular.
Yeah.
It's not what Formula One should be about if you're trying to build the show, if you're trying to encourage people to watch it. Baku was a fucking spectacle. That's what I want. Want more of that, please. And Monaco can be a spectacle still, but really only when it's wet.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, right. Let's talk about some retirements in the race, because there were only 3, really.
There were only 3, yeah. So we had Alonso's gearbox went poof.
Yep.
Which was a shame, because he was going pretty well.
I thought he was doing very well.
He was doing very well, but again,
he was
driver like Alonso. He was in the points, but a driver like Alonso with bag of spanners in the back, granted, but still, same engine won the race with a problem. Despite all of that, did kind of expect them to be able to do better.
Yep.
Given all the talk we get about McLaren having the best chassis on the grid, which we all know is bollocks. But still,
yes.
Given the quality of a driver that Alonso is, I feel McLaren is now the weak link in that package.
Yeah.
It looks like they've acknowledged that. They've got some investment. Hopefully they'll sort something out. But that was a huge shame. And then we had Charles Leclerc go into the back of Brendan Hartley in rather spectacular fashion. Ironically, right after a radio message to Brendan saying, "Watch out for Charles behind you, he's got a problem."
Oh man, that was quite a spectacular crash, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, it's certainly not the most spectacular one we've had around Monaco, but it was pretty terrifying for a moment. It looked like he might go skyward. But
yeah, he did launch up ever so slightly. So I'm assuming you saw the puff of smoke come from Leclerc's brakes as he
only on the replay. But yeah, I saw. He went into the back of it.
Yeah.
And turn the Toro Rosso into one of those race cars that like the drift cars sort of things that go around the rallycross circuits.
Oh, where they have the big wing on the roof.
Yeah. It suddenly turned the Toro Rosso into one of those. I mean, again, I was terrified at that point. And I was like, oh, we're going to get a safety car, or we're going to have to red flag or something. And, that's just going to be that, Daniel's going to lose out.
Mm.
But no, in the end, they managed to. They didn't even need to do it under a VSC, did they? It was.
No, there was a VSC.
Was it a VSC?
Yeah. Right. Okay. Look, my views on this race. Just before the race, there was talk about spots of rain, and so I get a little bit excited because I know that we have good races when it rains. Not that I want to see a wet Monaco, because I prefer, because it was kind of overcast this time. I want it either pissing down with rain or baking hot sunshine, shadows everywhere. That's what I want. But we got somewhere in the middle this time round. So you had a bit of excitement, possibly rain coming along there. You had Daniel easily pulling away from the group. He had the legs on absolutely everyone this weekend, and he fully deserves that win that he got this time round.
Oh, he deserved it in 2016 as well. This was a certain amount of serendipity for that.
Definitely. But I feel like you, when that radio call came through saying, "Oh, I've got a slight problem. I'm down on power." I felt, okay, this could, he's either going to retire or it could kick off into a race. And there were points where you thought, when it was stretching out a little bit, maybe Lewis could try and change things up a bit, come in for some new tyres and try and rag it out, see how he goes, go past Bottas. If he doesn't make it past Kimi, then maybe he could give the position back. And they've done that in the past, haven't they? So there's no reason to think that they couldn't have done that. There was a bit of excitement with that as well, that all the way through the race, at any point, Ricciardo could have broken down. And that could have been at any point whatsoever. And then you had Vettel every now and again he'll close up, and you had that excitement as well. I get what you're saying with, things possibly happening but not actually happening does not make the race. And I totally agree with that, but it doesn't stop me from getting excited when that sort of thing could possibly happen, and that's what keeps me on the edge of my seat. So that's why I enjoyed it. Even with the crash, I thought, oh, safety car? No, they bring out the crappy old VSC instead, which kind of ruins everything. Wouldn't it be cool to
Well, I was going to say, though, they were running so close, even if it had a safety car, it wasn't like it was going to close up the top 5 anymore.
Well, no, that was a good thing as well, that there were points where we could see the top 3 in the straight, or coming up the hill, should I say. And that was nice to see. You don't really get that a lot, but then again, that's down to a slow car at the front just bunching things up, isn't it? And if this was on any other circuit, Daniel Ricciardo might not have been in the top 10.
No, not at all.
Now, what about people comparing this race to that of Schumacher's race in Spain, where he finished with just 1 gear? Do you agree with that?
No.
Yeah, I am.
Do you want me to expand upon my no?
No, sorry, I just needed to cough, so I needed to,
okay.
I needed to press the mute button. I don't agree with that at all.
Or even Senna in Interlagos, when again he was stuck in, was it 6th or something?
He was losing gears by the dozen.
Yeah, I mean he lost 2 gears. They don't use all 8 necessarily at Monaco anyway, so he lost 1 gear. And again, it's 20 miles an hour down, but it's you cannot pass at Monaco. It's Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, Kimi Raikkonen, Vitaly Bottas, Daniel Ricciardo. These are arguably some of the best drivers in the world.
Yep.
They're driving arguably some of the most technologically advanced cars in the world, certainly some of the fastest. But the way they are designed, and we've said this before, they're designed to operate in isolation. They're designed to do what they do on Saturday. Just go around in the fastest time possible with no other cars around them. That is what all of their weird wind tunnel and all their fluid dynamics and everything is designed to. The assumption that they will go from pole to the lead, disappear off into the distance. If they really want to fix Formula 1 for 2021 or whenever it is, and I've said this before, mandate that every wind tunnel, every fluid dynamics test, everything has to be done with the assumption of a car in front. Stick of, FIA, send them all a FIA mandated dummy car, which, does average characteristics of what it's like to follow a car. And everything's got to be geared around following that. And I guarantee you, 100%, the racing will instantly become spectacular because the cars will know how to follow each other because they'll have had to develop them that way. Yeah. And if you get out in the lead, awesome. But the car behind you now has just as much of a chance of passing you as you did.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we've said it plenty of times in the past, but I still agree with it. Still totally agree with it.
I know I'm down on the Monaco Grand Prix, but I don't blame anyone who enjoys it. I mean, look, we enjoy Formula 1. There's plenty of people, it's a particular friend of ours who refers to it as the Flappy Paddle podcast. I get that if it's your thing, it's your thing, and that's fine. But I love Formula 1. I've loved Formula 1 for about as long as I can remember. And I just don't get... Well, no, I do get it. But I don't appreciate the level of adoration Monaco is given at the expense of other things. We're already in a situation where, we've got a 21 race calendar?
Yes.
21 race calendar. There are other race circuits I'd much rather go to than Monaco. I'd rather go to Istanbul. I'd rather go to Hockenheim. I'd rather go to Manicourt. I'd rather go to Donington.
Okay.
I'd rather go to Indianapolis. There's a lot of Imola. Yeah. There's a lot of circuits which would give much better races much more spectacular and entertaining races which aren't on the grid, partly because they don't want to pay the fees and partly because there's just no space. And if you're looking through the races you go to, Formula One will get rid of Formula One before they'll get rid of a Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah.
I understand that. I accept that. I've come to terms with it. And that's why when it comes, I mean, hell, I had other stuff to do on this weekend. So I watched the race, but really what I should have done is just watch the qualifying, because that was it.
Yeah.
After that, I'm done with it.
Well, I think, as you said, they finished, the top 6 finished in the position that they started in.
Exactly, yeah. And yeah, it's just, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm not down on anyone who likes it. It's just, for me, if I just watch this on the highlights, I mean, here's something telling. If you watch the highlights on the Formula One YouTube page, the highlights video is 5.5 minutes long, yeah?
Yep.
2 minutes of that are the slow down congratulation messages. About a minute of it is just that first lap.
Ah, okay.
And in that, you've also got the Charles Leclerc, Brendan Hartley crash from multiple angles.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's the highlights of it.
I think that says it all then, doesn't it? Did they show anything of Stroll bouncing his car around the circuit, like driving like a blind man?
Because... They didn't, but I did want to speak very briefly about Williams.
Yeah.
This is the worst I've ever seen Williams. And I was there for the monochrome days.
Oh, yes,
Was it monochrome, what they called it?
Mechachrome.
Mechachrome.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was
98.
98, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was 98. I know I said this last time, but it takes time to steer a new course. As you say, we've given Stroll every chance. They've got the wrong driver lineup more than anything else. They don't have development drivers there. They need drivers with experience who can help push the development of the car. I'm not saying Robert Kubica is the one for them, because he's been out of the game for quite a while. But I do think they should have perhaps kept Massa. At least he can help guide a little bit with the development of it. But yeah, Williams are in a state, and I think they're probably going to end up at the bottom of the constructors at this rate. Oh,
there's no doubt that they will. There's no doubt that they will. Because in this race, you had Stroll driving around, bouncing off of every curb. I think he had 2 punches during the race, at which point I thought, if you're going bowling, sometimes you put the little gully buffers up, don't you?
Gutter ball, yeah.
That's what he needed around this circuit.
The training wheels.
Yeah, that's what he needed, because he just didn't seem to be able to cope with the situation, being in a bit of a crap car at the back and then getting lapped. He was just getting flustered, and he was on the radio. Yeah, I know I'm getting blue flags. I'm trying to get out of the way, but what do they expect? Look, you just got to deal with it when you're in that sort of situation. Suck it up for this weekend and then go to Canada, your home race, and hopefully turn it up a little bit then. But I feel sorry for Williams. Look, we've all felt sorry for Williams. They've had spurts and dips, and they've been down, they've been up, they've been down, and at the moment they're in one of the worst positions they've ever been in. And we've just got to support them through it. But I don't think they've got the right drivers there. Yeah,
basically, it's going to be a hard year for Williams, I think, and for fans of Williams. And it's a horrible thing to say, but I really hope Frank doesn't cark it this year. I don't want him to go while his team's in this much of a state.
Oh, I don't want him to go full stop.
No, I don't either. But like I said, he is getting on a bit now, and it's just like he doesn't deserve that. So please, Williams, pull your finger out.
Isn't he? I think he's classed as the longest living paraplegic. I'm sure it is, or one of the longest living paraplegics.
I have no idea, to be honest. But yeah, it's. I've got issues with Frank Williams, dating back to how he treated people like Nigel Mansell and Damon Hill and stuff like that back in the day.
Yeah.
But still, he's a giant amongst Formula One, and his team deserves to be better than it currently is.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I mean, Williams for me is the pinnacle of the garagistas.
Yes.
You know, it is. They are what it is to be the independent constructor, and I hope they are able to, get things sorted there. I only really got two other notes I wanted to mention.
Yeah, go on.
I did notice that the cars were cocking a wheel as they went around the Grand Hotel hairpin.
Yep.
Which I thought was interesting. I know they do it occasionally, but it's just funny watching it. And I still hate the immediate post-race interviews.
Oh, I detest them.
Yeah,
I detest them.
They're because again, the drivers are out. They're full of emotion. They want to go and celebrate. Just give them some. I miss when they're in that little cool-down room, just listening in. Yeah. That's what I miss, because that was nice.
Monaco is different. I could forgive it for this being the only one that they do that on. Mm-hmm. Which is fine, because it's the jewel in the crown, etc. Which I know that you'll hate that for, but any other race, look, I feel like we're treading over old ground again. But I don't like them, and I want them to be removed, and I don't want to see them ever again. But someone has turned around and said, no, the format needs to be different, and we need to shake it up a little bit. And okay, this isn't quite working as well as what you think it would be. So please remove it. So that's what they need to do.
Anyone who just listened to this podcast for the first time is probably wondering why the hell we watch Formula One.
Yeah. I honestly was in a really good mood.
I feel like I should apologise, but to be honest, you knew what you were getting with me. So
yeah. Okay, one thing of a shining light in this race, I suppose.
Okay.
After the VSC that we had, mm-hmm. Daniel Ricciardo pulled away from everyone. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure that's 50% to do with something magical happening on his car. And there was a point where he was driving around and saying, yeah, is it going to get better? And his engineer turned around and went, no. It's kind of like when my old car had like that little engine mapping problem and the light came on, and that was on there for 11 years on that car. And do you know what made it better? I thought that at one day it got better. It fixed itself. It healed itself. It was a magical car. Turns out the bulb that was glowing that light up died. Mm-hmm. Because that
maybe that's what it is. Maybe in the cockpit he got a bit of insulation tape and was able to put it over that bit on the dash.
Yeah.
I mean, instantly it was fine.
Yeah, Daniel, in the pit stop that they had, Daniel, look up there. Oh yeah, put a bit of gaffer tape over it. Look, it's disappeared. Excellent.
Yeah, it's all better now.
Yeah. So that was weird that he could pull away. He could really stretch his legs after all of his problems, and yet the Ferraris and Mercedes really struggled on their tyres with the ground.
I did think that Ricciardo being able to pull away was more down to Vettel just not having the best tyres under him at that point.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of also another thing I wanted to mention. Lewis, I know you weren't having fun, but please stop with the whinging.
Oh, he's always going to do that.
He's going, these tyres are great, I'm going to lose these positions. You're in third place and you're in Monaco. You literally could go around there with 3 wheels on your wagon. Yeah. And as long as you don't go into the walls, the person behind you is not getting past you.
Yeah.
And I almost kind of wish that, Pete, is it Bonington, his one? Yeah, it's Bono, would just turn around to him and say that to him. Say, look, you're in Monaco. You could literally be going around here with 3 wheels on your wagon. Kimi's not getting past you.
Yeah.
Who incidentally forgot was in this race and also said it was the most boring race ever.
Yes, I heard that. Yeah, in his very monotone way. Yeah, it's like really boring. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah. All these people are paid hundreds and hundreds of pounds to be there, and you're like, yeah, it's boring. The
thing is, though, if the drivers are saying that consistently, I mean, obviously Danny's not going to say that because he won, yay. But if all the other drivers are saying this is boring, we're not enjoying this, well, then one of the big causes for it to stay on with Canada goes. So I do think they will try and fix it because of that.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Anything else you'd like to bring up about the race before we, end up carking it because of our disdain for the race, even though I'm a massive fan of it.
I feel bad for putting you in a bad mood, to be honest. So sorry.
No, you're good, man. I think it's not the realization, it's the talking about it. You know, sometimes when we review movies and they turn out to be funnier when you're actually just
it's the Apollo 12 episode, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, you should go and listen to the Earth to the Moon podcast, which we recently finished. There you go, a little plug there, you see.
Do we bitch about the moon in that show? I don't think we do we?
We bitch about a couple of the episodes, but on the whole, we're very much in favour of the moon.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, I feel that I can't remember where I was going with that now. You've totally lost my train of thought.
Wait, so, when you see something you either don't like or you dislike, and then you're talking to someone, and through the process of talking about it and thinking about it and revisiting it, you suddenly realise that you were actually wrong in the first place.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was relating that to. It doesn't matter. Should we I'll run down the top 10, and then do you want to do the constructors and drivers?
Yeah, sure. I was going to say, though, to be perfectly honest, you only have to do 10 to 6, since the rest are the same as the qualifying.
That's true, yeah. I'll run through the top 10 anyway. So we had Daniel Ricciardo finally getting his win at Monaco.
And his first one from pole as well.
Is it? Yes.
His first win from pole, yes.
Well, he's only ever had another pole, which was in the Monaco Grand Prix.
And this was the first time he'd won from it.
Man, okay, right. There's something in the water today, isn't there? There really is.
All I'm saying is it's another one of those, commentator statistics they like bringing out.
Right. Okay, fine. Anyway, Sebastian Vettel was second, Lewis Hamilton was third, Kimi Räikkönen was fourth, Valtteri Bottas was fifth, Ocon was sixth, Pierre Gasly was seventh, Hulkenberg was eighth, Max Verstappen worked his way up to ninth, which was respectable, I suppose.
I think that's worth a golf clap.
Yeah. No, boy did good. And Carlos Sainz took the final position in the points in 10th position. We only had 3 drivers retiring. That was Alonso, Hartley, and Leclerc. And okay, driver standings. Do you want to do that?
Yes, I will do the driver standings as we currently are. So in 5th place, dropping a place, is Kimi Räikkönen with 60 points. In 4th place, dropping a place, is Valtteri Bottas with 68 points. Climbing 2 to 3rd is Daniel Ricciardo with 72 points. In 2nd is Sebastian Vettel with 96 points. And still out ahead with a lead of 14 points is Lewis Hamilton with 110.
Good stuff.
And then the constructors, no real changes on positions. It's McLaren with 40, from Renault with 46, Red Bull with 107, Ferrari with 156, and Mercedes with 178.
Excellent. Cool. So Renault have slightly pulled away from McLaren because McLaren didn't have any. Well, Van Dorn finished 14th this race, didn't he? Yes,
they scored no points. In fact, Van Dorn was a bit upset, saying he felt they were sacrificed for Alonso. Which, fair play, because Alonso was your best bet of scoring points up till his gearbox went.
Yeah.
Again, there's blood in the water around Stoffel Van Dorn, with a few people saying he's not necessarily living up to expectations there.
Yep.
It's not fair, because, he's not been in the car really able to deliver. But hell, that's Formula One. There's only 20 seats on the grid.
Well,
only 6 worth having.
Yeah, but look, Leclerc's really shining this season, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
And he's in a Sauber. He's in the worse position than McLaren, or how McLaren would have you think anyway, at least. So, if he can shine it, then Stoffel, you're gonna have to get a move on, I think.
You are, yeah. But let's not forget about old Verline, who was the golden boy for a year.
Yep.
And where's he now?
Well, yeah, exactly. Ericsson's still in that car, isn't he?
Yeah.
Where did he finish? I'm just looking. Oh, he finished 11th. There we go. Right, so that's the race. That's our thoughts on it. Sorry about that, guys. That's just the way it goes around Monaco, I suppose.
Well, I don't apologise because my dislike for this race is on the record, but I do apologise for making Elton feel bad about it.
There we go. Right, so our predictions from last time out. Are you ready for some predictions as to what we had?
Oh, yes.
Okay, right. Do you remember what you went for?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you do you?
I do.
Okay, so you predicted Ricciardo for pole position. I went for Vettel.
Did.
Mm-hmm. So you get a point there. Well done, you.
Thank you.
And Ricciardo, you went for Ricciardo for the race. I went for Vettel. So you get another point there. Well done, you.
Oh, thank you.
And we decided to have how many clear leaders of the race we would have.
Yes.
I went with 4. Mm-hmm. So I get no points for that because
I feel you were slightly optimistic there.
I was hoping for a good race.
You were hoping for a safety car.
And some excitement. And you went, now I have this written down because I scrubbed it out and then I scrubbed out the second one and then you went back to your original one.
Yes.
You went with 2.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
Leaders of the race. And I can take a photo and show it to you if you want.
No, I believe I remember now because this was the confusion because it was the whole clear leaders thing because I was like, I could see someone being ahead from the start line to the first corner. And that's where it is. Yeah. I should have just stuck with the 1.
Well, you went 2 and then 1 and then changed idea back to 2.
I remember. I still feel vindicated in knowing that there'll be fuck all changes. The only reason I thought it might be 2 is I thought we might have the pitch where he would come into the pitch and then Vettel would be in the lead until the end of the next lap when he'd come into the pitch.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But no, he had enough of a gap that he didn't have to do that.
No, yeah, I understand that. So, in our standings at the moment, I am still leading with 6 points. And you have closed up ever so slightly. You now have 4 points. So well done, you.
Oh, thank you.
So
everything's still to play for?
Oh, everything. Got plenty of races left to go. So next time out, we're at Canada, yes?
Oh, Canada. That's all I know of the national anthem. So.
Okay. And this is a circuit you like, isn't it?
It is indeed a circuit I like.
Good man, because I love it.
Doesn't always give a classic race. But more often than not, it does.
It gives excitement. You can, not all the time, but you do get a safety car every now and again.
You do. One of my all-time favourite races was the 2012 one. The one where it was rained off for like 2 hours.
Yep.
And then Jenson Button went from the back of the grid to win.
Yes. That was an amazing race.
That was awesome. I love that race. That was so good. So yes, definitely have a soft spot for Canada. Really like that.
Okay, right. So have you got any stats on last year before we start doing predictions?
I do. So last year in 2017, pole position was Lewis Hamilton.
Yep.
Podium was Hamilton from Bottas from Ricciardo. And the fastest lap was Lewis Hamilton. And just in terms of overall stats, 7 wins to Michael Schumacher, 6 wins to Lewis Hamilton, 3 wins to Nelson Piquet, and 2 wins to a lot of other people, including Senna, Alan Jones, Jackie Stewart, Jackie, can't even pronounce his surname. So, yeah. Ferrari have won 13 times. McLaren have also won 13 times. Williams 7. Mercedes 3.
Okay. Right, so, since you're lagging behind in the standings at the moment, what would you like to go for, or who would you like to go for pole position?
I'm going with Lewis.
You're going with, okay. So Lewis Hamilton. Well, okay. Oh, man. Yeah. No. Bugger. I'm going to go with Ricciardo. I think he's coming into play in the championship because he's got 2 race wins, Hamilton's got 2 race wins, and Vettel's got 2 race wins, isn't he?
He does, yes.
He's coming into play. Hang on. Do I want to go with Ricciardo? Yes. Okay. Right. I'm going with Ricciardo. No, but do I want to? Oh no, man. I'm stuck. Right, I've written it down. So you can't.
No. We established a precedent. You're allowed at least one change per season. So if you want to rub it out, you can do.
No.
Would you like me to tell you where Ricardo qualified last time? See if that'll help.
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Because I could tell you. It's no problem. It was 6.
6. Flip. Oh man, no, I'm gonna stick with it.
Really? Because Vettel was second last time. Man.
Yeah. Go on. Who would you like to? Well, who do you think is going to win?
I was going to say who would I like to win would be Ricardo, but who do I think will win? I think it'll be Lewis. He's always Mercedes has won every year since 2015 here.
Yeah.
And Lewis, I think every time he's in a car with even a sniff of a win here, has done it. He's won in the Mercedes here. He's won in the McLaren here. He's always gone well here. So I think he'll do it right.
Right. Okay. I am going to go with Vettel for the race win. Okay. Right. I've written that down. Third column. Now, safety cars?
I was going to say something to do with Stroll, maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Finishing position, maybe?
In Canadian. Yeah, I reckon finishing position is probably an easy one.
Yeah. Nearest to pin?
Yeah, nearest to pin.
Let's do nearest to pin, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where do you think Stroll will finish?
Oh, wait, are we doing nearest to pin? Or on it?
No,
okay.
we're going to do nearest to pin now.
Okay, so someone wants a point here, doesn't he?
Well, yeah. I could be giving a point away, but, yeah, there you go. Go on.
DNF.
Oh, okay. Hang on. He's not going to clout the Wall of Champions, is he?
Maybe.
Give over. Oh, okay. Oh, that might be a fourth one. How many people will hit the Wall of Champions? Okay, right. I think he will finish 15th.
15th.
Yeah. Well, really, I could say first because anything is closer than a DNF, really, isn't it?
I see. This is why I don't think it's going to work doing nearest to pin, though. Because if I've got a DNF, what is so? If he finishes like dead last, lap down,
yeah,
is it closer to you or is it closer to me?
Well, you're saying he didn't finish.
So basically, it comes down to you're saying he will finish, and I'm saying he won't.
It is, yeah. Okay, on the money. It has to be on the money. Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be on the money, or I've got to say he's going to finish in 20th or something like that. But so on the money, yeah.
On the money, I will write that down on the money as well.
All right. So you're going 15th, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And as a bit of fun, fourth column. Do you think anyone will hit the Wall of Champions?
What, all weekend?
Apart from Grosjean. Oh yeah, all weekend.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
It's all weekend. Of course, someone's going to hit it.
Okay. How many drivers do you think will hit it? Or how many times will it be hit?
This is getting too complicated, mate. Also, just as a sidebar, last year there were only 15 finishers.
Right. Okay.
So, you know.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But anyway.
Okay. Right. Okay. In the race, will someone clout the Wall of Champions?
In the race, will someone count? In the race, I'll say...
This is for no points, by the way. No points
this is just for shits and giggles, is it?
Yeah, this is shits and giggles, yeah.
All right, then. Yes. Lance Stroll.
And that's why he gets a DNF. Oh, brilliant. In the race, yes. Yeah, I reckon someone will as well. It'd be Grosjean, man.
Yeah, you reckon Grosjean?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be Grosjean. Definitely. Right, there we go. Right, so that is all written down, ready to go for 2 weeks' time at the Canadian Grand Prix.
2 weeks?
Yeah. I do like this circuit, though.
Yeah. Like I said, it doesn't always give a classic race, but it gives us some really good ones.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Right, so that's the end of that then. Is there anything that you'd like to send anyone else to listen to you on the internet at all.
Well, while I feel after this, they probably don't want to listen to either of us ever again.
No,
I will, however, point them towards RogueTwoMedia.com, where you can find the other podcasts me and Elton do. And specifically, I would point you towards the Earth to the Moon podcast. And not the latest episode. I mean, obviously you should listen to the latest episode. But go and listen to the episode about Apollo 12. Because tragically, one of the astronauts died this week, Alan Bean.
I did,
who was the last Apollo 12 astronaut. So, yeah, go and give the episode about Apollo 12 a listen to. It's a great little episode. And you can listen to the both of us, not necessarily agreeing, but still having a good time while we do it. So yeah, go and give that a check out. See what you think.
Good man, yes. We will be back on our game for the Canadian Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time. I would direct you to the Black Dog podcast. So go give them idiots a listen to, because it's films and stuff, and everyone likes films, don't they? So if you like a film, go listen to them. I've forgotten. Oh, it was Gattaca, the last episode. Oh, you were on there as well.
I was on it. Yeah, I like that film. That's good.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, if you want to listen to these two idiots talking about movies with another two idiots, then yeah, please pop along to Black Dog Podcast at .com. Yeah. blackdogpodcast.com. Man, this has been a weird episode. I was a little bit. I was full of beans, and yeah, now I just feel like I shouldn't have watched that race. So yeah, thanks for that, mate. I really enjoyed that.
Hey, mate, I consider it a public service.
Oh,
You're
cheers.
welcome.
Yeah. And, if this is your first time listening to us and you've still made it this far, congratulations to you. Big gold star.
We apologise. We really do.
Yeah, no, we do apologise. And fingers crossed for a good Canadian Grand Prix.
I'll just add one last qualification, yeah?
Yep.
I maintain that if you were to attend the Monaco Grand Prix, it's probably the best experience ever.
Yeah.
So if you find people would like to contribute to our Patreon, which is rogue2.patreon.com.
It's patreon.com/RogueTwoMedia.
Yeah. Contribute to that so that we can actually go and attend the Monaco Grand Prix. I'm sure we'll both love it and be singing its praises next time out. So I think in the interest of science, you should all go and contribute to the Patreon and, get us to Monaco for the next year's race. And just so we can see if it's actually as good as they all say.
If the Patreon does hit £2 million, then we will buy a floating caravan and drive up there ourselves.
Yes, that's right. That's 2 million. For 2 billion, we'll go and record an episode of Something on the Moon.
No,
but that's a different podcast. But yes, also, if you disagree with us, you can email us at boxboxbox.grandprixpodcast.com.
That's correct. Yep.
Hey, I got it right. And you can also tweet at us at GP Pod.
Grand Prix Pod, yes.
There you go, Grand Prix Pod. And tell us how I'm absolutely wrong and Monaco is the best race ever.
Cool. Excellent.
I'm looking at you, Lee. Doing the eye thing here.
That's if he's still listening.
That is true, yeah.
But then we didn't bash Verstappen much this weekend.
I thought I was exceptionally fair to him this weekend.
I thought you were as well. And I don't think we bashed anyone, really, did we? Not even Grosjean.
Maybe Monaco.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, it's an actual personality, isn't it?
It is a bit, yeah.
Okay, so until next time, thank you very much to everyone for listening. Thank you to Andy for joining in and bringing everyone down. That was excellent of you. Good work.
Job done.
Yeah. So, see you next time. Bye-bye.
Especially if Octagon's got a problem, because 2.8 has become 1.9 in the space of a lap. So that's going to happen, isn't it?